let's jump into it. Presentation. So again, just wanted to take you through the some of the benefits of trading a multi-system strategy. So let's have a look at some information here that will help. Why diversify? This is talking about diversification. Two are better than one. The math will prove it. So we're going to go through some of the math, in relation to why this works so well, and we'll talk a little bit about, or we'll look at some numbers on the importance of money management and position sizing as well as part of the process of running a multi-system strategy. Now, markets we know are either up, down or sideways, but for the better part of your trading life, most of the time you'll be trading in kind of a sideways market. So it may not be intraday, it may not feel like a sideways market, but generally most of the time the markets do run parallel or sideways, and we just need to make sure that if we are in the market most of the time, which we are, we're trading pretty much every day, so we need to have the ability to capitalize on whatever market conditions present, because really none of us have a crystal ball and we don't really know what's going to happen the next day. There's a lot of things we can do to determine potentially what could happen, but we're not really here to predict what happens. We're here to react. So what happens really if your system or strategy goes into a drawdown? Now, the reality is that that systems and strategies are in drawdown for most of the time. So they'll make new equity highs, they start to go into a drawdown. So it's the whole 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or sometimes it feels like 1 step forward, 2 steps back. But really, it's a case of you're always going to be kind of edging forward, or that's the goal, to edge forward and to improve your performance or that equity curve as you go along. So if you have just the one system, one strategy, and it does go into a drawdown or starts to experience, and we've seen it in pretty much every trading system or strategy we've traded. I'm going to show you some interesting numbers today as well on two of our markets that we traded in 2008, the Russell and the DAX. They went through a number of different drawdowns and some significant drawdown, and still managed to have a incredible end result. So it's all relative to what your capital base is, and it pretty much, when you start trading a system or a strategy, you've got to expect that if we know that 60% of the time our account's going to be in drawdown, you've got to expect that might be for an extended period of time. So it's just all about being there, making sure that you're appropriately capitalized to be able to trade. So that's one of the keys as well. Let's keep going. So how do we know what kind of a day is going to be before we start trading? There are a few things we can do. We can basically look at our average daily range. We can look at the range over the last 5, 10, 15, 20 days. We can look at a daily chart and determine whether we've got an inside day or a breakout day. So there's a few things we can do in relation to determining what kind of a day we're potentially going to have and what type of day has been leading up to today's trading. So we're not at the mercy all the time of the market. We can certainly do some preliminary stuff to look at exactly what kind of a day we potentially could get. But as traders, we're in the market every day. So what systems and strategies are we running to take advantage of these market conditions? Because we know that from our previous slide that if 80% of the day or 80% of the time the market consolidates, we've got the rest of the time the market's either breaking up or down. So we need to make sure that we've got a strategy that can basically help us to take profit any time when we're trading. So we don't want to rely on just one market condition. We want to be able to leverage our time and be able to take advantage of the market conditions that present. So if we look at system trading or discretionary trading, I mean, we are system traders, so there's a lot of debate about what type of trading is best, and really if you're new in the game or you're trying to to build confidence and professionalism and build the discipline to become a professional long-term trader, then really the best way, and I believe the only way to start, is to be a system trader. But with system trading comes several pitfalls, and there are things that we need to do as traders to make sure that we put ourselves in the best possible position to make money in the market. So that really comes down to me to diversification. Like, one of the things that I find is probably one of the critical things for making sure that we're doing well with our trading is to have that diversification in the market. But we hear it a lot of the time, like from professionals, from brokers, or from financial advisors. They say, you need to be diversified in the market. You need to have that diversification, whether it's in trading or as a collective. But really, nobody shows you or tells you or gives you the information on really how to effectively do that in your trading. So what we want to do is spend a bit of time today just covering kind of the basics of how that potentially could happen, and we want to kind of start to evolve that with the trading we do. We want to make sure that people are starting to get more of an idea of. A lot of you probably are already doing this, so that's fantastic. Some of you might be doing it to a fairly elite level. That's great, but for some of us who are in the room and trading, this is all fairly new. So if the information we're going through today is something you've heard before, that's okay. We'll just put up with that because, well, we as a group will, because we've got to just make sure that we look out for our newer traders. So diversification really is looking at two basic pieces of information to make comparisons. So what we want to do with our trading is we want to look at two potential ways in which we can diversify. We can look at a single market method where we basically trade one market and we have a number of different strategies on the one market, or we could say trade a group of markets with one strategy, or we could trade a group of markets with multiple strategies on each market. So you can see the tiers and the layers of diversification that could potentially come from having not only just having multiple markets that you trade. So you say to yourself, right, well, I'm not just going to be a crude trader. I need to be in gas. I need to be in uncorrelated markets like T-notes. I want to be trading the bonds. I want to be trading soybeans, wheat, corn. There might be other markets that we look at, but we also may want to look at, well, okay, well, I'm trading the profit accelerator, but what else can I do to diversify my approach to the markets? Do I just want to trade a breakout strategy, or do I want to start looking at capitalizing on, say, a counter trend or momentum-based strategy? And is there a way I can include maybe even some type of pattern recognition system into my trading? And can this be done with me personally trading or not? So the key is really what I believe is multiple single markets with proper money management combined with markets with. So our goal really is to effectively have single markets with multiple systems being traded. So when I say multiple, I mean three, and we're going to go through that in a second. And the other thing is to trade these multiple single markets with proper money management. So we add another component to our trading. So we don't just say, right, well, we've got the diversification through systems, but we're also going to optimize the process by using excellent money management. And there's ways in which we can take advantage of the diversification we have in the market and also develop an even better edge in the market by using really good money management. So I'm going to show you some examples of that today of excellent money management. Just before we go, how many people in the room have a money management plan that is more than just using a percentage of your risk per trade? Excellent. Alright, so I'll take you through some of the kind of things that I've been looking at and that we use as part of our trading, or I use as part of my personal trading anyway, and things that we're going to be teaching people, and obviously we teach as part of the programs we run, but basically going back to our system trading. Now, to me, there are three primary systems that we could potentially trade, three key systems we could possibly look at trading. There are trend following, counter trend, or pattern recognition. So basically they're the three things that we would possibly consider trading in our account to offer that diversification. So what we're looking to do is to incorporate these three types of strategies into our trading, because that allows us to have the multi-system strategy. And remember that if we have it on a market, then we've got that first level of diversification. But if we have it on multiple markets, then we've got that multiple levels of diversification. And then if we include excellent money management there as well, then that just helps to optimize our strategy. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about optimization with systems tonight as well, because typically what happens when we're trading, and when we develop systems, and when we particularly us as educators and traders, we're always looking to basically improve our trading. So that's our primary goal. We've got someone who works almost full time on developing strategies for us to improve the way we trade. Now, that person, is primary goal is to help work with the coaches and our team to get the best possible, strategies that we can use in our trading. So what we find is that typically what most people, or most of us, look for is, we look for, number one, we look for a system with a high win rate, and we look for something that looks really, really good over the last 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. But as we know, as traders, the markets are constantly changing, like they're changing every single day. And I'll give you an example of that here shortly when we go and have a look at a crude chart, because what I've noticed there, and I got tipped off by Bob probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago, that the dynamics of crude are changing, and Steve sent me an email about it as well. Thanks for that, Steve. But what you'll find is that there are certain things that are happening in different markets that we need to be aware of, and it's an ever evolving job. It's no longer a situation where you can just say, right, well, here's my strategy, it should work, at this time of the day, every day. Well, that's definitely not the case. The markets are evolving that quickly and changing, and the correlations between different things like the dollar, gold, the US equity markets, they're just constantly changing and evolving. So we've got to be on top of our game when we're trading. So one of the keys to helping us as traders is to obviously have the ability to not just have one tool in our tool bag. We want to have multiple things that we can bring out to kind of get the most out of the markets that we're trading. So diversification, interesting. I was reading some stuff today by Jack Schwager, and he was saying, or he was commenting in the book, it was technical analysis, and it was the futures edition that he was writing about, and he was saying that diversification should be extended to systems as well as markets. So just reinforcing that comment that we made earlier. So that just supports what we were thinking previously. Ideally, the greatest degree of diversification would be achieved by applying these type of systems to multiple markets. So that's the counter trend, pattern recognition, and trend